Hello viewers, welcome back to Daily Retro. Today we're going to be trying something new yet again. We're just going to go through some of my favourite gaming items that are in my games room. You might have seen previous videos on my games room where I've gone into tech sides of the games room. But today we're just going to go through what are my favourite items in the games room and why. Starting off with, there's going to be a sort of theme to this. Starting off with probably a very common scene is Sega Mega Drive. It wasn't until recently that I discovered that this Mega Drive was given to me in the early 2000s, well, to me and my brother by my cousin. It wasn't until recently that I discovered that this is a Gen 1 version 1 of the Mega Drive because it has this external port in the back, which means if you've ever watched Retro Gamer Boy, you can put a Sega modem in there, which was only ever used on one game and it wasn't a success, but it was there nonetheless, and it's just a weird piece of history to have. Still works. I had it recapped recently by Will's Consoles Modifications. He's based in Folkestone. Really good modder, and replaced and recapped everything, and all the capacitors were done as part of that. The power regulators are changed as well, and I think it was something like 60 quid including postage, which was really good. Plays like new now, so no more sort of noise or background interference, which is awesome. Don't actually like to play this much because I would like to keep it in a working state for as long as I may live, sort of thing. Which mainly leads me on to my second item, which I absolutely love in the games room, which is basically how I play my Mega Drive titles nowadays, and that is the Analogue Mega SG. If you watch Metal Jesus's most recent console video, it goes into why this is one of the best mini consoles as such. It's FPGA hardware remake of the Mega Drive, so the CPU emulates what the CPU does in the original Mega Drive, and then upscales it with scaling chips and clever software to output to a standard HDMI at 1080p. You can change it to lower resolutions if you'd like, but yeah, I choose to use 1080p because it looks absolutely incredible. You might notice on the front, these are 8-bit DOE controller ports, controller adapters even, that go into the original Mega Drive ports. So these are the original pins that you would find on a Mega Drive. These pins would fit in the front of my standard Mega Drive, and I have tried that and it does work really well. Don't have any sort of noticeable lag. If there is lag, then it's consistent, so it doesn't matter, because you can play the game without differences in latency. And yeah, I'll show you the controller. That is the controller. These are the 8-bit DOE M30 2.4 GHz controllers, so not Bluetooth. But yeah, they're really nice to hold, really light. Very similar sort of ergonomic design to the original Mega Drive controllers, just a little bit smaller, and the buttons feel really nice. And the charge time is about a couple of hours, and then they last you about 12, I found, which is really nice. Never really have to charge them very often. And they also came in a really cool box, which I like to display because I like to display everything in Mega Drive really. As you might have seen in my previous game videos, I've got the original Mega Drive box, which I absolutely love. And as you may or may not have seen or known, there is adapters for this Mega SG. So the main one that people will be interested in is the Master System adapter. This comes in the box with every Mega SG to take a Master System cart, which is a slightly smaller cart as you can see, That's the Master System side, and that is the Mega Drive side. And the best reason to sort of invest more time in this console was this, which is the 3-pack of Mega SG adapters. This has adapters for the Game Gear, which is probably the one that people will most be interested in this very sleek box. As well as the Game Gear, you've got a My Card adapter, which was Sega's like second ever sort of cartridge-based games, I think, and also the SG 3000, which was Sega's first ever console. Generally had more sort of arcadey games, and they are really hard to come by and quite expensive. Did have a look how much original Galaga was for it, and it was about $120, I think. But yeah, something you don't come across very often. But as I say, the Game Gear adapter is the main reason you buy this adapter set. I think it was only about £50 or $50, so a good investment to make your Mega SG even more playable. So you can play so many different systems on this same machine that, yeah, you can get so much out of it. And lastly, on the Sega front, we've got games from my childhood, really. So as I mentioned earlier, I was given the Sega Mega Drive when I was quite young by my cousin, and one of the couple first games that I got given with it were these two. So the original Sonic and Micro Machines by Codemasters. Amazing games. Sonic was generally the game I played by myself when I was allowed to for half an hour at a time, which was funny now I think about it. Still complete in box, still works perfectly, which is awesome because I absolutely love this thing. It has so much nostalgia every time I pick it up. I just think, wow, it's been with me 20 years now. And I know that's becoming late to the game, but yeah, you do what you can when you're a child. And Micro Machines, which even though my friends at school when I was in primary and secondary, well, just primary really, had PlayStation 1s and PlayStation 2s, I still had Micro Machines on the Mega Drive, which they absolutely loved coming around to play because it was 2-player and you could sort of rotate to 4 players, I think. I think the actual Micro Machines, the second game, which I never had as a child but I do have it now, had 2 extra controller boards in the cart, so you could play 4-player Micro Machines, which was absolutely awesome. But no one can really beat me at this game, honestly. The amount of people that tried it, it's just hilarious. Because I don't practice it, but just from playing it for years and years and years, it means I never lose, which is really funny. We both come close. Right, so moving on to a more recent pickup, which gave me a bit of a big hit of nostalgia. This is a modded Game Boy Color. So eagle-eyed viewers will notice as soon as I turn it on that you have a much bigger IPS display. This is about 15% bigger than an original screen. Uses, I think, 0.1 watts more power, so it will drain the batteries a little bit quicker. I think it's 0.9 watts instead of 0.7 or 0.8, I think. But this is called a Q5 IPS display. And the reason it gave me so much nostalgia was the first handheld game I ever played was Pokemon Silver on the Game Boy Color, which wasn't even mine, it was a school friend's. So I didn't actually own one until I was a lot older. And absolutely loved Pokemon Silver. I played their games to death, completed it at least twice, maybe 3 times. I'd still like to go back to it now, but I'm currently playing through Pokemon Blue for a second time, just because I haven't played it in a very long time. and I just absolutely love how comfortable Game Boy Color is to hold. I've got a modded Game Boy Advance, but I can honestly say when I'm in bed that I prefer something really easy to hold, and the Game Boy Color is so light and ergonomic to hold that I can play it for longer periods and I enjoy it. It's also got a touch sensor on the top of this modded screen, so you can turn the brightness down, which saves battery life but also doesn't disturb my wife, who likes to sleep early, I should say. And lastly, we're just going to move on to another Nintendo item which I only picked up a couple of years ago, but the Nintendo 64, as you see down there, it's the Ice Blue Fantastic N64. And in addition to why I love it is because Retro Fighters, which is a really cool American company who make modern controller remakes, have made this recently. They released them in most of the, if not all of the fantastic colours. I absolutely love this ice colour. And when you see this all lit up at night, I've got my LEDs in a nice blue as well, so it really makes everything shine, especially the N64. This controller is just awesome. I think it's about £35, but over the original controller, it obviously it's wireless, and you can put an original N64 memory card in the front of the wireless receiver, so you can still play all your memory card games, which is awesome. And again, I don't really notice any lag with this. If there is any lag, it's consistent, so there's no issue there. Again, it must be 2.4 gigahertz, and there's nothing else to interfere with that in this games room. So, and that brings us, I think, lastly to the reason I got the N64 was because of this game, Pokemon Stadium. Never owned the second one. I've got it on my birthday list for this year, which you'll probably laugh at, but yeah, this was one of the first, I think this was the first 3D Pokemon game I ever saw. So I saw my cousin playing it, I think, and thought, wow, that just looks epic. And never owned it at the time, didn't even play it, I just watched someone play it when I was younger, and so I was just constantly thinking, wow, I'd love to own that. And the day I bought this, I just played it for hours and hours and hours. It was just so good, as good as I remember. And with the Rad 2X, which I've mentioned before, in the back of the N64, it upscales it as well, so it just looks even better than it did originally, probably. And yeah, can't wait to play the second one, to be honest, because I've played the hell out of the first one. And I still go back to it just because it's so much fun, especially 2-player against the wife, because she's into Pokemon as well, so it's nice to have sort of more relaxed 2-player competitive game, because a lot of the other competitive games are quite fast paced on the N64. So yeah, it's nice to sort of chill and have a slower paced 2-player game, which is great. And that's pretty much it for this video, to be honest. Hope you all have an awesome rest of the week. This was a bit of a different video for me. I've never really done all-in-one take videos, but I want to know your opinions on if it needs editing. You go back and watch my other videos if you think they're better, or if it doesn't, then fine, just say that. Please like and subscribe if you like the video. Cheers.